We will look ahead to Aberdeen Helsinki. Right now we're going to concentrate on the Europa League. It's the 5:45 kick-off. It is Aris Limassol against Rangers, and it is commentary here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland with Derek Ferguson and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Richard. Welcome to the Limassol Stadium on a massive night for Rangers, and of course, in particular, their interim manager, Stephen Davis, twice a losing finalist in this competition with Rangers, and hugely decorated during his two spells at the club. And now a new chapter begins, perhaps only for a couple of games, but Stephen Davis, a man of impeccable standards on the park, will seek to bring out the best of this group of players. Firstly, to keep this European campaign on track before turning his attention to lifting their fortunes in the league. Rangers are pretty much set to go in a strip that I haven't seen before, I have to say. It's kind of red and black top with blue shorts and red socks. Aris Limassol, much like Real Betis a few weeks back, in the green and white stripes, their home kit, and green shorts and green socks. The two captains, James Tavernier and his counterpart in the Aris Limassol colours, who is the Brazilian goalkeeper Vanna, just going through the coin toss, the exchange of pennants with the Romanian officials, and we will soon be up and running. It's a pretty warm evening in early October in Limassol, mid-20s still in Cyprus. The pitch, I have to say, does not look in great condition, and watching the warm-up as the players went through their shooting drills and so on, there was balls bobbling all over the place, so that won't necessarily work in favour of the strikers out there, but equally the defenders will have to be careful, the goalkeepers will have to be careful. It'll be Rangers and Cyril Dessers who'll get us underway from our position in a little cabin at the back of the main stand. Rangers are going from left to right at the start of this first half in which they must improve the quality of play from recent outings, and particularly from the Aberdeen game, albeit watching back the highlights, certainly they had a few chances to go ahead in that game, and had they taken some of those, it might have been a different story. But that was unfortunately for Michael Beale the tale of his tenure, certainly this season, as Rangers do get us underway, and Goldson knocks it down the right channel, and initially it's Jurosevic, the left back for the Cypriot side, who knocks it forward, and it's back with Goldson just inside his own half, and he points forward and then plays it square to Ben Davies, who keeps his place despite the change of manager. He's been in for the last few now at the expense of John Souttar. Here's Tavernier lifting that over the top. There was too much on that for Dessers, and immediately grabbed and then bowled out by Van, the Brazilian. And down the right hand side come Limassol, and it's Steve Iago coming forward from the right back position. It's out of play in the far side. Derek, your initial thoughts, especially on that pitch? It does look troublesome.
Yeah, just to back you up there, Al. Yeah, I was watching the warm-up, and it isn't the best surface out there. They try to water it, but it looks very dry, pretty bumpy, but no excuses, you know. Rangers,
there's a chance for Scott Wright, yeah, right-hand side of the penalty area, back to Lundstrom, just pokes it out to Wright once more. Tavernier picks up midway inside the Aris half. He's well challenged though by Bengtsson, breaks to Goldson in the halfway line, lifts it forward, one for Tavernier to chase. Jurosevic just tries to shepherd that out for a goal kick. Stephen Thompson, as you know, is in the studio. Stephen, anything you've noted so far in terms of formations or any changes Stephen Davis has implemented?
No, nothing yet, Al. I mean, we're 1 minute 27 seconds into the game, but I'll let you know if I see anything.
Thanks, Stephen. On the ball as always, as Vanna prepares to take the goal kick. It's straight out of play just in front of Stephen Davis's technical area, as the new Rangers interim manager just stands with his Rangers pick up through Ben Davies. And now it's Goldson. Square again for Davies. He's caught in possession though. It was pretty ponderous play by the centre backs. An opportunity here for Aris to break into the penalty area. is Gomez looking for the shooting opportunity, eventually blocked away as Davies atones for the original error, but sloppy defending, Derek.
Absolutely, and they're far too slow in their play at the moment. I mean, we're just talking about the surface isn't the greatest, and there's this slow, methodical build-up, and Davies gets caught out there, and they're lucky. I think it was Gomez there, get his shot and target, but you'd like to think early on in this game, get the ball forward a little bit quicker, and put this team under a little bit of pressure. But Rangers not doing that at the moment.
Not, and they're on the back foot right now as Aris come forward once more. It's swept away again by Davis as the home side look to impose themselves on the game. They did take the lead against Sparta Prague on match day 1 before eventually going down by 3-2, but they already look like a decent side, and Rangers certainly cannot afford to take them lightly.
As I say, Zal, I think they need more speed in their play. Certainly Rangers, that slow, that build-up, it's just allowing, the team, they're at home, to go and press them high up the park, and they've done it pretty well, and and they've had an opportunity already, and unlucky, not to get a decent shot and target there.
Sima can't hold on to the ball. He's robbed there in the middle of the park by Struski, and again the home side looking full of confidence. Mayambela trying to make an impact inside the penalty area. Davis gets there just ahead of him and knocks it to Raskan out on the left hand side. Rangers looking to try and settle into the game, but they have started in nervy fashion, Derek.
Yeah, they certainly have, and I actually expected it them to come out the traps, very quick, get the ball forward, but it's the absolute opposite at the moment. That it's a very slow start from Rangers, and I think Stephen Davis down there, he'll be a worried man, even though we're so early in this game.
Lammers can't bring the ball under control, and Iago should be able to see that back to Vanna in the Cypriot goal. Gets it back to Iago on the edge of the penalty area, playing it centre back. Steve Iago turns away coolly from Dessers. He's looking for a bit of movement ahead of him. In the end, he just gets frustrated, and he's asking his fullback Jurosevic to make the angle for him. Knocks it out of play instead, and it's back in Rangers possession. Almost 5 minutes played here in Limassol as Rangers have it at the back. It's goalless, and Raskin knocks it to Davies, who plays it back to his goalkeeper Jack Butland before he's put under too much trouble. He launches it forward. Dessers looking to make it difficult for Iago on the edge of the box. He needs a goal to boost his confidence. He was one of those passing up opportunities against Aberdeen. And there's Lundstrom with the shot from the edge of the area. Not a bad effort, always rising and over the top. And it's Aris Limassol 0, Rangers 0.
Yeah, Dessers does very well there. It's a long ball, and Aris Limassol, they don't deal with it. Dessers gets in there, just lays it off to your man, and then he cuts in left hand side, just a shot, and just puts it well over the bar.
It's the home side coming forward once more, and it's Babicka who's challenged by Goldson, who claims for the throw-in and gets it. It's not a huge home support, as the guys were pointing out as they handed to us. It's certainly not an intimidating atmosphere, and Rangers have brought what looks like a couple of thousand fans of their own who are behind Jack Butland's goal in this first period, and hoping to see more and better from their side than they've offered in this opening 6 minutes. Char goalless, but Aris Limassol looking to have relaxed into the game a bit quicker than their opponents, and it is them coming forward once more with Mayambela right hand side up against Raskan and Barisic. Away from Raskan he goes, still Mayambela has to check back the way though, and it's Boakia, the right back, all the way back to the halfway line to Iago. Iago has misplaced a couple of passes and he's put Boakia under a bit of pressure, but Sima can't capitalise, and Boakia comes away with possession as Gomez trying to chest it into the path of the advancing Struski, but there's an offside flag going up on the far side, and let's take this opportunity to get some more thoughts from Stephen Thompson.
Yeah, I think it has been quite a kind of nervy start from Rangers. They're causing their own problems at this minute in time, not looking very composed on the ball. I don't know whether the pitch has something to do with that. I feel as though Limassol are closing them down well. There hasn't been any kind of fluidity to the Rangers performance so far, but it's still very early on. They're just feeling their way into the game, but it certainly hasn't been overly impressive so far, Alistair.
No, it hasn't, and again Rangers were put under pressure by their own slackness at the back, but eventually Butland manages to get it clear, and it's out for a throw in to Rangers. We've played 7.5 minutes in Limassol, and it's still goalless as Davies plays it square outside his own penalty area to Goldson. Goldson whacks it up to the halfway line. Not a great pass, and it comes back at him. And now it's Gomez stepping away from him. Gomez with the opportunity out to Bayambela, right hand side. Gets the shot away. It's a good save from Butland, and he had to make that as Rangers again invite the pressure on. It's out for a corner, but it could have been worse, Derek Ferguson.
Yeah, you said that, Al. Slackness, you know, and it's right throughout the team. You know, they look half-hearted at the moment. You know, I mean, Stephen Davis down there, he must be doing he's nothing at the moment, because I expected a quick start from him, but no, not whatsoever. You know, they look at 6s and 7s, they're not passing it sharp enough. The lack of movement as well, you know, so, and they've got a little bit of pace up top, so Rangers pretty fortunate, you know, to be in level terms at the moment. Yeah,
they've got a corner kick to defend here from the right hand side, to be taken by Jurošević, as Aris Limassol look for the opening goal to compound the misery for Rangers at the start of this game, which they have been unimpressive in. It's back the way to Bengtson. It's a good ball, it's a goal! And it's Aris Limassol who take the lead with Mukatu Masunda up from the back to get on the end of the cross from the right-hand side from Bengtson. Rangers all over the place. It's been a dreadful start here in Limassol, and they are deservedly behind. It's Aris Limassol 1, Rangers 0.
Yeah, bit of a shambles, to be honest with you, Al. You know, we've spoke about the slackness, and there's a short corner kick, and the reaction from the players, it's poor, to say the least. You know, but they still get a bit of time to, you know, pick up your man. But Masunda, you know, he's a free man, just pulling away to that back post area. Simplest of headers into the back of net, and it's what Limassol deserve at the moment. But I tell you what, I didn't expect this from this Rangers side. Yeah, they've just lost their manager. There's no time to feel sorry for yourself. You know, you get out there, do a job, but to be honest, they're all over the place.
So poor from Rangers, and Alex Mukatu Masunda had all the space and time in the middle to just glance that header as the corner came back to Binks, and he flighted it in from the right-hand side. He was completely unmarked, Mukatu Masunda. Here's Seaman at the other end, a quick response required. Tries to look for Lammers, gets it all wrong, into the arms of Vanna, and it's Aris Limassol 1, Rangers 0.
Yeah, and I think that's what Rangers need to do, get the ball forward a little bit quicker. Seema just away in that left-hand side, just inside the box. You know, gets himself away from his marker, but at the end up, it's a poor finish. But they look a bit shell-shocked at the moment, Rangers.
Raskan trying to find a way through. Lammers can't do anything with it at the edge of the box, though. And Aris Limassol come forward on the counter-attack, and it's led by Mayambela up towards the edge of the box. Oh, he was looking for his teammate. Comes back to him, blocked away as Lundstrom picks up inside his own penalty area and just blasts it forward. But Rangers look so vulnerable at the back, so nervous.
I don't think it's just at the back, Al. I think it's all over the park. You always see defend from the front, but the reaction is so slow, it's unbelievable.
Here's Gomez trying to pick out the pass, and Butland bravely down at the feet of the advancing Boakia there as he made his way into the penalty area, and it could have got worse for Rangers, but Butland, who's been one of their few success stories so far this season, goes down to make an important save. But Rangers trail. Stephen Davis must wonder what's happened here as his Rangers side have gone out, and they really haven't performed. Alex Ray down there in the dugout as well, and there's absolutely no doubt they would have had this team fired up and believing in themselves, but they look a team devoid of belief right now as Tavernier struggles to cope with Jurošević, and the left fullback comes forward, he misplaces his pass, but then so too does Barisic, who's got more defending to do as Mayambela picks up right-hand side. That's another chance for Bengtson, unmarked, but he puts it over the top. Poor finish there from the Swede. It could so easily have been 2-0 as Rangers just look devoid of any quality out there whatsoever. It's Aris Limassol 1, Rangers 0.
It's horrendous, the defending. You look at Tavernier there, you know, away on the right-hand side. He just doesn't get to grips with the player. He's away from him, and then it's so easy, you know. It's just played into a wide area, and Begston there, he's got to make that 2-0. He's only 6 yards out. Yeah, the ball's fired in, a bit of pace, but he should certainly be hitting the target, hitting the back of the net. But you know, it looks a disillusioned side at the moment, Rangers. Even we spoke about before the game about the lack of confidence, but there just looks absolutely nothing about them, which is a real surprise. I mean, certainly you normally get that reaction. You know, you get a new voice, new manager come in, different ideas, but no, they look as if they're feeling sorry for themselves at the moment, Rangers.
Yeah, they need to get back into this game and quickly, as Barisic picks up at the back, plays it to Davies and all the way back to Butland. We've played almost 13 minutes. Rangers trail to a Mukatu Masunda header from a few minutes ago. Glance past Jack Butland, completely unmarked, as Goldson goes over the top looking for Sima. Sima causing problems at the back there, but it's eventually dealt with. Iago was the defender who was toiling, but Sima picks up left-hand side, tries to move away from Boaki. He's got little in the way of support, but he's still battling away, hacked away by Mayambela, picked up though by Raskan just outside the penalty area. Left-hand side, drives towards the goal line, tries to get the cross in. It's cut out, and Aris can come forward down the right-hand side. Boaki just hacks it out of play there over on the far side, the Aris right, but their Belarusian coach down there, Alexei Spilevsky, who led them to their first league title ever last season. He must be very content, Derek, with the way things are going so far.
Yeah, and I mean, they should have had a second, maybe even a third, if you look at it so far. But it's clear to see from here, when we're sitting up the back of the stand, the work ethic, you know, of Aris Limassol far better than Rangers. You know, as I say, I used the word half-hearted earlier. You know, that's, they just don't look at it at the moment. And you know, Limassol, you know, just working harder and get a little bit of pace up front and causing Rangers all sorts of problems.
It's better from Scott Wright though. He's earned his side a free kick. The game's going to be pulled back for the initial challenge as Wright tried to burst through the middle and find Dessers. Dessers could make nothing of it, but Wright does earn the free kick, and that's just what Rangers need to show, is a bit more drive and determination.
Even the body language, Al. You look at the body there. You know, you look for players to kind of G each other up, get players going, but absolutely nothing. You just look at their body language. There just seems an acceptance at the moment.
Here's a free kick midway inside the Aris half, just right of centre. Tavernier clips it towards the back post. There's no one going round the back post, and it's gone straight out of play. Another breakdown in communication there. Rangers have been massively unimpressive in this opening quarter of an hour. Stephen Thompson.
Yeah, it's been pretty much everything that Stephen Davis would not have wanted to see. They could easily have been 3-0 down at this point. I mean, the goal itself, short corner, ball worked back into the box. I don't think that Connor Goldson covered himself in glory. Doesn't get the right side of his marker, brushed off the ball, too easy a header. Then the next opportunity that comes into the middle of the 6-yard box, Derek's right, that is a sitter, an absolute sitter. The least you can do is hit target there. He's unmarked in the middle of the 6. Rangers defensively all over the place. Look like they've never played together before. And, you know, 15 minutes in, I think they should be considering themselves lucky to just be 1-0 down.
Absolutely. It's Aris under pressure just at the moment. Dessers closing down well against the goal scorer, Alex Mukatu Masunda, the Gabon international. Tucked the header away well enough, but he was completely unmarked and just changed the direction of the ball into the box and glanced it beyond Butland. It's a bit of defending though for the home side to do, and it's sliced out of play for a Rangers corner kick as they try to get themselves back into the game. It was Struski who got his clearance all wrong, and Barisic will trot over to this right hand side to swing in the corner left-footed. 1-1 between Real Betis and Sparta Prague in the opening exchanges there. We've played 16.5 minutes here in Aris Limassol. We'll keep you up to date with the goals as they go in that game as well. And of course Aberdeen against HJK Helsinki to come later. Here's Barisic then with the corner. In swinger towards the back post. It's a decent ball in, high in the air off the head of Davies, and then sliced over his own crossbar there. And it will be another Rangers corner, and it's first signs that Aris Limassol, when they're put under pressure, can be a little bit nervous themselves, Derek.
Yeah, I think it's a striker, you know, back in that role, just defending. He just panics a little bit, you know, loses his bearings and just slashes the ball behind for another corner kick. Barisic will try again from the right hand side again. It's a good looking ball, it's good defending that time, headed out of the penalty area. Wright kind of trying to keep it alive, but Aris have cleared their lines. Now they've got 2-on-2
What kind of speed do they have going forward? Gomez asking a lot there of Babicka, and Raskin tidies up and knocks it back to Jack Butland, who just rolls it out to the edge of his box to Davies, who plays it out to the right-hand side once more. And it's Nico Raskin back in the team after missing 4 through injury, as he knocks it back to Tavernier, who in turn plays it back to Goldson midway inside his own half. Rangers all at sea so far in this game in Cyprus, deeply unimpressive and trailed by a goal to nil. Tavernier and Goldson play the ball between themselves. They need more urgency, more verve, higher tempo, as the Aris fans get behind their side. They were taken over by a Belarusian businessman 2 or 3 years back, and he's the man who's injected the cash to make them something of a force in Cypriot football. And I was reading that they've tried to get some of the Russian-speaking community here in Cyprus behind them as they've tried to build a fan base, and there's a good few thousand inside the Limassol Stadium this evening, and they're watching their side lead Rangers by a goal to nil as Tavernier clips it down the right-hand side. Dessers gives chase. He's well matched, but Dessers has done well. Touches it back to right for Lammers. Lammers into the box, right-hand side, tries to go for goal. It's a team effort in the end, a comfortable take for Vanna, but at last Derek Ferguson, a sign of decent link-up, a bit of decent play from Rangers.
Yeah, I wouldn't say good link-up. I think it's their best option at the moment. It's just going a little bit longer, and Dessers does pretty well. With Lammers, I don't know, is that a cross come shot? I'm not too sure. No conviction. It's when you get into those positions, yes, the angle was always going to be against them, but I think it was a tame and a poor effort.
And that's Mukatu Musonda playing it forwards. Raskin, though, has nicked the pocket of Gomez, and now it's Barisic just inside his own half. Plays it forward for Sima. Sima gets away well from Boaki down the left-hand side. Sima up to the angle of the box on the left. What can he create here? Out to Lundstrom. Lundstrom can get the shot away. Plays it to Scott Wright, who I don't know what he was trying to do, but he's given the ball.
Oh, it was a poor ball, that, Lundstrom. He's absolutely fired the ball at him. He's only 10, 15 yards away. You've got to think about the weight in the pass and allow the player receiving the ball to deal with it. It just smashes it at him. I think that's a poor pass, and now they're breaking on Rangers.
Yeah, they certainly are. Forward come Aris Limassol as Mayambela tries to get the shot away, but that's blocked, and Raskin picks up, and he's taken rather crudely out of play there. It will be a Rangers free kick, and we've played 20 minutes inside the Limassol Stadium. Rangers trail by a goal to nil and haven't been on their game whatsoever in these opening stages of the game. Here's Lundstrom just in the halfway line, comes forwards looking for a pass and finds Sima midway inside the Limassol. That's a good ball. Dessers is in. Can he equalise here? Dessers strolls it in. The offside flag goes up. This will be checked. Rangers have a leveller chopped off.
I think he was offside, Al. Just a half a yard. He just goes a little bit early. It's a little bit better from Rangers. Sharper in their passing, a little bit quicker, incisive, but I think he was maybe just offside.
Yeah, looks like it. Looks like this is going to be ruled offside. The linesman did put his flag up pretty immediately after the ball was rolled into the goal, and but we've seen at the weekend you can never quite take these things for granted, despite the introduction of all the technology, but we do await the final and conclusive decision of the VAR here. It's all Romanian officials, as I've mentioned. Well, the Belarusian manager, Alexei Shpilevsky, is asking, well, what's the hold-up here? It was obviously offside, and tend to agree with him, but it has to be checked, and they have to get it right because we don't want any further embarrassment. Stephen Thompson?
No, I think it's definitely offside. He's just strayed probably a foot, gone a slight touch too early, hasn't bent his run. More promising from Rangers, though, that they managed to breach on 2 occasions in the last 5 minutes. This Limassol defence, the tame shot from Lammers, and then this one. I mean, I don't know what the delay is for, because we're supposed to know straight away, black and white, whether it's offside or not, and it was definitely offside. It'll do Dessers the world good to know that he actually finished the opportunity for a man that's carrying a bit of weight in his shoulders, despite the fact it's not going to stand. He did finish it well, and Rangers need to build on this last couple of minutes where, yes, I mean, the first 20 minutes has been fairly shambolic, but they need to look at any type of positive they can, and they've had the ball in the net there, despite the fact it's not going to stand.
Yeah, I mean, still we wait. It's a ridiculous amount of time, you have to say, for a decision that does look so clear-cut, but I must confess to having called a few wrong with the naked eye over the course of the time that VAR has been in play. So let's just wait and see, shall we? The replays we're seeing do seem to back up the notion that it was offside, but still the Romanian officials is waiting, and the fans inside the stadium grow ever more restless.
I think it's Masonda's back foot, you know, that might have played Dessers on, but initially, just what you're saying now, with the naked eye, you thought, yeah, offside, but when you do watch the replay, which we've got here, you know, Masonda's back foot, so it's closer than what we think, so they're certainly taking their time over it, that's for sure.
Yeah, the Aris Limassol players getting pretty frustrated here by a decision they feel was relatively straightforward, but clearly you would have to imagine it's not just as obvious as it looks, as the Romanian officials continue to discuss the matter between the VAR, Ovidiu Hatigan, and the match referee, who is Horacio Fesnic, who's standing at the edge of the centre circle. All eyes on him as he, yeah, the hand goes up, it's offside. And I think the correct decision ultimately arrived at, despite the fact that it took considerably longer than perhaps it should have. Anyway, so we'll restart with an Aris Limassol free kick just inside their own penalty area. But Derek, it was a better period, as Stephen was saying, the last 2 or 3 minutes from Rangers.
Yeah, not before time. As I say, it's been an extremely poor start to the game, you know, and they're lucky, Rangers. They're not 2 or 3 behind at the moment, so just starting to show signs that they're going to get themselves back into this game.
Good play from Lammers down the right-hand side. Can he pick out a teammate? No, he can't. Mukatu Masunda recovers from his own error and manages to get the ball clear, only as far as Tavernier, who nods it forward. Scott Wright can make nothing of it. Jurosevic clears up to Gomez. Gomez put under pressure by Tavernier. He was looking for a free kick as Raskan is taken out by Jurosevic, and it's going to be a Rangers free kick on this right-hand side. Another pretty poor challenge there that goes relatively unpunished by the referee, albeit it is a free kick quickly taken by Tavernier to Wright. That's a good ball, and it's headed away and behind, or out for a throw-in actually in the end. It's a good bit of defending there by Iago. He had to make that inside the 6-yard box because Scott Wright had put a delicious ball in. Yeah,
it's good play from Rangers, quick free kick. Away out on this right-hand side from Tavernier, just releases right, and it's a terrific ball, but yeah, as you say, good defending from Aris.
Dessers can't hold the ball up as it comes into the penalty area. The ball is going out for a throw-in to Rangers midway inside the Aris half, as the visitors at last begin to make something of an impact on the game, but they do trail by a goal to 0. 25 minutes in, they've had a goal chopped off just a couple of minutes ago, and the ball will find its way through to their goalkeeper Vanna, the 32-year-old Brazilian. Has played a lot of his football in Portugal since moving to Europe, but he finds himself for the last couple of seasons and part of that league-winning side from last time out, as Aris win the free kick. Mayambela hitting the deck, and Aris will have the free kick just inside their own half. 1-0 the lead. Alex Mukatu Masunda's first goal of the season has them in front as Gomez helps it forward, looking for Bengtson, who could have scored a second had he been sharper with his finish inside the 6-yard box. I just wonder if there was a bobble inside the 6-yard box, if we're being kind to him, because it did look like a really gilt-edged opportunity for him. A man who played against Aberdeen, as I mentioned earlier, for Häcken a couple of seasons back. He played both legs, gave away a penalty in that 5-1 defeat at Pittodrie, but scored in the 2-0 win in Gothenburg, and he's looked lively on the left wing for Aris in this first period. They have a throw-in down near the corner flag on the left-hand side as they look to consolidate or indeed improve on their advantage. Raskan battling away to win it back. Tavernier thumps it up towards the halfway line, but Dessers is going to have to make up some ground to try and close down Iago, who steps away from him. Still, Dessers sticks to his task. Iago taking a chance, eventually knocks it back to his goalkeeper Vanna. Vanna at the edge of the box, then just clears it out to the right-hand side. Barisic will let that go out for a throw-in to Rangers. 27 minutes on the clock. 1-0 to the home side, who are playing in Europe for just the second time. Last season was their first time, but they are, as I've been indicating, a club on the up, it seems, and they're giving Rangers a right good game here. As again, it's Boakye doing well against Sima over on the far side. Can't quite get the ball clear though. Mayambela helps him out, only as far as Lundstrom. Lundstrom picks up and moves forward. Can't find Lammers though. Breaks though to Raskin. Raskin just tries to poke it through the middle. Lammers might pick that up, but he's dispossessed in the middle of the park by Struski, the pole. And a better pass there might have released Mayambela, but in the way he was Ben Davies, and then Lundstrom knocks it straight out of play, and Stephen Davis turns away in frustration as his side continue to give possession away all too easily. 1-0 they trail.
Yeah, certainly in the middle of the park. You know, you look at Lundstrom there, Raskin. You know, they've got to be a bit better in terms of, you know, keeping the possession of the ball. I tell you what, Rangers got away with when they had a high line there, you know, and if the player puts it over the top, I don't think that Rangers back four were going to recover. But you know, they've had the better 2 or 3 minutes of late, but they just look out of sorts, don't they? You know, it's hard to put your finger on it, you know, because we were talking about before the game the new management team in place, and you'd have thought they'd come out, you know, flying out the traps, but you know, it's took them a while to get going. And I think, thankfully, you know, they're still only 1-0 down and still in this game, because it could have been worse. You could have found ourselves with 2 or 3-0 behind. That's
a sore one that Scott Wright's taken. Mukatu Masunda has earned himself a yellow card, but just watching that replay, Derek, I wonder if VAR might want to take a further look. Stephen Thompson, and wonder if you've had a chance to look at that one yourself.
Yeah, I have, and he goes over the ball, but he doesn't really catch Scott Wright high. He catches him pretty much on the top of his boot. It's a poor challenge, but I would have to say I think that yellow card's the right decision.
Yeah, and play has resumed, so no further action required as far as the officials are concerned, but it was a sore one for Scott Wright, who has got himself back up without the need of any medical attention. Rangers trying to build down the left-hand side. Barisic playing it back to the halfway line to Lundstrom. Lundstrom looks up out to the right-hand side. Not sure who he's looking for. I assume it was Tavernier. He hadn't made the run, and that's just going to drift harmlessly behind for a goal kick. We're just ticking towards the half-hour mark, and the scoreline reads Aris Limassol 1, Rangers 0.
I actually don't know what Lundstrom's thinking about there. You know, he's Tavernier, you know, he's not even getting himself forward. I don't know why he even tries to play that ball, and just gives possession back to Aris Limassol far too easily. You know, and I tell you what, they've not been good in the middle of the park. You know, that pairing of Raskin and Lundstrom, they've been poor so far.
Yeah, particularly Lundstrom, as Aris Limassol pick up through Mayambela, right hand side, and now Boakye helping out in attack, the full back, and he's won himself a free kick just in the edge of the penalty area. This is a promising position for Aris Limassol, and I was watching the left back Jurosevic in the warm-up, firing a couple of dead balls in. He looks like he's got a good left foot, a la Borna Barisic, and this could be a test here for Jack Butland. Nico Raskin just bringing Babicka to the deck there, and giving away a really daft free kick, just about, what, 25 yards maybe from goal, well right of centre, almost as far right as the edge of the penalty area, but nonetheless, you would imagine an opportunity to try and test the Rangers goalkeeper here, Derek.
Yeah, I would think so. You know, certainly within shooting range, that's for sure. Yeah, it's, as you said, Alex, away to the right-hand side, but I'll be surprised if they don't have a pop at goal here.
It is Jurosevic and also Bengtsson who are over it. Bengtsson with the right foot potentially, but does look to favour the left foot of Jurosevic, and it is him that goes for goal, and it's not too far wide, I'll tell you. But Jack Butland looked calm all the way. Jurosevic is looking for a corner kick, actually.
I thought so myself. I thought that took a little nick off the wall, but the referee doesn't see it that way. But yeah, again, it's another opportunity for Aris Limassol, and there's been far too many, to be honest, in this first, 31 minutes.
Seamer's done well though, finds Lammers left-hand side. Lammers though can't find the return ball, and he is playing in that more central area in behind the striker tonight, Sam Lammers, but he's still...
He's got to work harder now. He's got to, his movement off the ball, you know, for me, just a little bit like too static at times. You know, you've got to really work hard. You know, that's what the good teams do. It's not just what you do with the ball, it's what you do without the ball. And in my opinion, I don't think Rangers work hard enough off the ball.
And Sam Lammers was one of the many players that Michael Beale really talked up, and he wanted to have face-to-face conversations to make sure they were the right players for Rangers, that they had the character required, and these players also gushing in the praise of Michael Beale's vision and his tactical genius and so on. And we've just seen very, very few examples of either of those elements over the course of the start of this season. So many players still to prove themselves in a Rangers jersey, and they certainly haven't done it this evening as they trail by a goal to nil with almost 33 minutes played. They're coming down the right hand side and they've won themselves a throw in about 25 yards from the corner flag to be taken by their captain James Tavernier. It's into Lammers, he can't keep the ball. It does get flicked on by Wright, knocked away though by Mayambela. Forward comes Goldson, almost a bit of a mix up there with Raskan, but gets it forward, and then Gomez will be flagged offside. I think he knew he was going to be offside, barely bothered trying to chase the ball, and it will be a free kick to Rangers with just over 10 minutes left in this first period. 1-0 they trail. Alex Mukatu Musunda, after 9 minutes, a glancing header past Jack Butland as he found himself completely unmarked from a corner kick, and Rangers have been chasing their tails ever since. And here comes Boaki on the far side coming forward for Aris Limassol as they look to make things even better for themselves before the interval. They've got it right hand side, and it comes to Suke, but he can't really find a teammate, the Slovakian midfielder, and it's all the way through to Jack Butland, who's had a couple of decent saves, as well as having picked the ball out the back of the net once, and it's straight out of play as Butland looked to find Sima. Throw into the home side. Over on the far side, the Aris right, and it's going to be Eric Boakia, the Ghanaian, who will go across and take this one, the right back, midway inside his own half.
Carl, you talk about standards, you know, and Rangers at the moment, the way they've performed the first 35 minutes, way below the standards that you would expect. You know, you look at the middle of the park, you know, Lundstrom, Raskin, they're used to the ball, been extremely poor. Lammers as well at times finds himself in good positions, but the execution of the pass, it's so poor, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't think the pitch is helping them, but it's the same for both sides.
You can make an
no, I know,
to a certain
absolutely.
extent, you know, and it isn't, yeah, of course it isn't the best surface, but it's not, I tell you what, but you still expect the level of player that Rangers have got to be producing a little bit better than what they've shown so far. Yeah,
there's Raskan, for instance, with another heavy touch when he's got to do better, and they do have the ball back, Rangers, but they were in a better position had Raskan been a bit more careful with his touch. Here's Lundstrom from inside his own half, tries the raking ball for Barisic, who sets off down that left-hand side. Across though goes Boaki, and then Barisic sticks a lazy leg in there where he could just have tried to keep him down in that corner, make him defend down in his own corner flag. Instead he gives away a cheap free kick, and they get out of trouble.
And you said it, lazy. That's a lazy leg. It's the easy option, you know, and it kind of typifies this performance so far. You know, apart from that offside goal from Dessers, you know, there's nothing to write home about, is there? You know, they've been so poor. Even you look at the guys like, you know, the captain, Tavernier, Barisic, you know, normally getting themselves high up the park, getting those deliveries in. There's been absolutely nothing. You know, I don't know. You expected this game against Aris Limassol to be maybe a slightly easier game for them, but at the moment they're certainly making hard work of it.
Yeah, I mean, Aris Limassol have looked like a decent side so far, but they're no better than that. And Rangers, if they've got aspirations of winning the group or qualifying at least for the next phase, they've got to be coming to this kind of place and winning the games. And they've still got almost an hour to get back and turn it all around, but they're making very heavy weather of the opening stages as Goldson gets it back to Tavernier, right hand side. He's quickly closed down and loses it. Bengtson plays it forward, and then Suka takes over. Gomez with a little nutmeg on Raskin, and left hand side almost at the goal line. Across comes Goldson to close him down. Gomez is turning him one way then the other. Eventually Goldson wins the ball back, then goes down as he was just tripped by the forward player, and it will be a Rangers free kick with 37 minutes on the clock. It's Aris Limassol 1, Rangers 0.
And I think Rangers need half time. You know, we spoke about before the game again about the calmness of Stephen Davis. I don't think he'll be calm in that dressing room. You know, you use the word respect, having respect for your manager. Well, I think those players out there at the moment, you know, they've got to dig deep. They've got to show a little bit more, you know, in what they're showing so far, because this is well below the standards you would expect.
Lammers has won it back in a good position, but Dessers can't hold on to it, and it's cleared away down the line by Iago. Forward again, Rangers play it, but Lundstrom can't make much of it, and then Suket just plays it forward again. It's rather aimless, and Rangers have it back. 7 minutes until the break. Rangers trail by a goal to nil. Scored 9 minutes in when the centre back Alex Mukatu Masunda. Here's Tavernier on the right hand side. Again, it's a loose touch from Tavernier. Eventually manages to play it off Bengtson to win the throw in midway inside the Aris Limassol half.
Well, the captain's certainly not leading by example. He's been so slack tonight. It's been unbelievable. His first touch, and well, you're talking about the surface, but that's about focus, concentration, you know, on that first touch, and get a good pass off. But you just don't look as if they're at it one bit tonight.
Goldson's won himself a free kick, which he takes by firing out diagonally, and it's kind of come off Blackgate and behind for a Rangers corner. Over on the left hand side this time, Barisic is already over there, although Tavernier often goes across and swings them in, but it looks like it's going to be Barisic, and the outswinger then from the left hand side as Rangers look to get themselves back on level terms in a first half in which they have been pretty poor, as Barisic sends it in. There's a header straight at the goalkeeper. It wasn't a bad header from Sima, but it just lacked the power and direction required to seriously trouble the Brazilian in the Aris goal, and it remains Aris Limassol 1, Rangers 0.
Yeah, it's a decent effort, you know, just coming away from that front post area, 6 yards out. The ball's he's actually gone away from goals. He makes a decent contact, not enough power to trouble the keeper.
I think that Sima has been, I mentioned Jack Butland has been one of the few successes. I think Sima generally, he's got a few goals. I think he's probably looked the other one who's been brightest of those other summer signings, albeit that's damning him with faint praise, you could say.
Yeah, and that's been probably the one positive tonight, you know, and when Rangers do go a little bit longer, you know, to Sima, you know, over the back, you know, he's certainly with that pace and that power, and he has caused them a few problems, but certainly not enough.
Rangers have it at the back. It's Goldson, the Aris coach, is in conversation down there with the fourth official. I'm not sure what that's about, but as Scott Wright picks up on the edge of the box, it's dummied by Sima for Lammers, and Lammers didn't read it. In the end, he does pick up on the left-hand side, but it could have been better had he just run onto the ball. Here he gets it back from Barisic, left-hand side. Lammers to Barisic once more, comes in field, and the momentum has gone out of that attack. Just for a moment it looked promising, but Sima and Lammers not quite on the same wavelength. As Goldson picks up just inside his own half. Sima holding his position out to the right hand side just for the moment as Scott Wright just drifts over to the left. Rangers have a throw in over on the far side. Aris thought it was their ball, but it will be taken by Borna Barisic just inside the Aris half. We've got just under 5 minutes left in this opening period. Rangers losing by a goal to nil to the top 4 side, Aris Limassol, who are probably pretty good value for the lead, you would have to say. He was right though, trying to do something about it. Breaks for Lammers, left hand side. Now it's Raskan, about 25 yards from the goal line, cuts infield to the angle of the box, pokes it back there to Wright. Wright shows good footwork, tries to play it out to Barisic. He whips the ball in towards the back post. Tavernier rises, can't do much with it, can't force it back across goal. It'll break now for Bengtson to come forward down the left hand side for Aris. Tracking back is Sima. He's done well to hold him up. It's a good, I thought it was a good challenge. He thought he'd won the ball, but the referee was in a good position and says that will be an Aris Limassol free kick right in the halfway line and right on the left touch line, and it's still Aris 1, Rangers 0.
I thought it was a good challenge, to be honest with you. I think he clearly wins the ball, but the referee deems it as a foul. It's just interesting, you see the reaction. You know, Tavernier, you know, he's well up, you know, on the play there, but his reaction to get goal side, that desire to get back in and defend, you know, and I think that just kind of typifies that this Rangers side tonight, you know, just not quite at it.
Goldson plays it back to Butland. You have to be careful. He takes one touch and then lofts it away. It wasn't an ideal pass back, you'd have to say, from Goldson, but he dealt with it well, the former England international keeper. As Aris pick up once more on the right hand side, and it's Mayambela who looked like he was having his shirt tugged there, and he gets the free kick. just inside the Rangers half, taken quickly there by Suka out to the right. Oh, it's slack from Gomez, so he's managed to keep it in. Thought he'd let it run out of play. Here he is, running at the Rangers back line, gets the shot away, but it's blocked by Lundstrom, played forward by Lammers for Dessers. He's completely on his own. He can do nothing with it other than concede possession, and he still looks like a player shorn of confidence despite having the ball in the back of the net earlier on. It was flagged correctly offside, and the Rangers equaliser didn't last long. But yeah, Dessers, he desperately needs a goal, Derek.
Yeah, he's got to make, and the ball goes up to him. You know, he's got to make it stick. He's got to hold it in, wait till his teammates get up, and then pop the ball off. It's just what it says. It just typifies, you know, the first 42, 43 minutes.
Here's Tavernier, right-hand side, looking to get the ball in. Good backtracking again by Bengtson, at the expense though of a corner kick on the right-hand side for Rangers. If we could get an equaliser in the last couple of minutes of this first half, there will be a good bit added on for that delay when VAR chopped off the Rangers equaliser. But if they could get a goal in that period, it would really, you would imagine, give them a lift for the second half, and hopefully from their perspective a much better second half performance. But they do need to get back on level terms one way or the other. Here's Tavernier swinging it in, outswinger headed away by Jago inside his own penalty area and picked up by Babicka. He can just about keep it in, but he can only play it forward to Raskan on the halfway line. Rangers look to come forward once more. Keep an eye on the fourth official, who will shortly signal how much added on time there will indeed be, as Barisic just plays it off Mayambela for a Rangers throw in midway inside the Aris half. Back the way it goes to Raskan. Raskan comes forward up towards the edge of the penalty, plays it into the feet of Dessers. A little flick by Tavernier, and then Raskan goes back the way to Davies. Again, Rangers look rather devoid of ideas, but there's a good ball from Sima out to Barisic. Takes one touch, then gets the cross into the near post. Away it goes once more by Jago, well positioned at the near post. It wasn't Barisic's best cross, and Aris have dealt with it, and it's played all the way back by Davies on the halfway line to Jack Butland, as Stephen Davis prepares for his first half-time team talk as Rangers interim manager. And as you say, Derek, he's been pretty placid on the sidelines so far, but surely have a word or two to say to them at half-time.
Yeah, maybe his assistant as well, a certain Alec Ray. I know Alec pretty well. I don't think he'll miss some of the players, because there's certain standards, you know, and you need to kind of aspire to, you know, to be a Rangers player, and I think they fell well short tonight. And Aris, Limassol, they look pretty comfortable. Yeah, a few set pieces, you know, there's been a couple of headers, but in general, the play from Rangers, it's been laboured, it's been slow, half-hearted.
4 minutes to be added on at the end of this first half, and we're into that now as Rangers continue to trail by a goal to nil in this Europa League Group C Matchday 2 game. Dessers looking to link with Lammers. Again, can't keep a hold of it, and Babicka is careless with his pass, and Rangers have it back. Halfway line, it's Lundstrom, lifts it forward. Jago, though, again in the right place at the right time. And now Suka can come forward, crossing the halfway line, checks away from Lammers, back in field he comes, and then goes back the way to the goal scorer, Alex Mukatu Masunda. And down the left now from Jurosevic for Bengtson. Bengtson has Tavernier right on his tail and goes back once more to Struski, just inside his own half, gets the 1-2 of Gomez, and then back to Mukatu Masunda once more. He plays it forward, looks to be offside there. Jurosevic, and indeed the assistant referee on the far side, agrees and raises the flag. Rangers will take the free kick quickly through Lundstrom. Back to Golson. Can they find an equaliser before the break? I'm not sure they entirely deserve it, although they might argue that their play in the second part of this first half has merited something, as Golson lifts it over the top for Dessers. Dessers, decent first touch, then he goes down inside the box. The keeper hasn't gathered it, but it's scrambled away as Dessers lies prone inside the 6-yard box. The keeper's gone down now as well. That looked to be the keeper's ball all day long, as Dessers looked to have put it too close to him, but he rather made a mess of it, and in the end it was scrambled defence. It gives us a chance to go back to Stephen Thompson, who we'll hear more from at half-time, but let's get Stephen's take on what you've seen thus far.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been a slight improvement in terms of Rangers' performance. The opening 15-20 minutes was really poor, really poor, but they've grown into the game. That said, they haven't really created much. I still think there's another gear or two to be found in terms of their performance, their tempo, their aggression. I think also Limassol, they seem to have taken their foot off the gas a wee bit. They're 1-0 up and they haven't really created anything for the last 20 minutes. That said, I can't think of too much that Rangers have created themselves. Still look a wee bit devoid of ideas when they get into that final third. For me, I'd like to see Tavernier and Barisic much higher up the pitch. Rangers are much more threatening when they get into crossing areas. We know their delivery from wide areas is so good. But for me, I can't think of more than one occasion, certainly for Barisic, and maybe only once Tavernier, that have been 30 yards from the opposition goal, 20 yards from the opposition goal, putting in balls into the box. So I think that has to be improved upon in the second half.
Yep, you would have thought so. Vanna is back up on his feet. Dessers looks to be fine as well. We are deep into stoppage time. 1-1 still between Real Betis and Sparta Prague in the other game in this group, as Scott Wright prepares to take the throw in on the right-hand side. Tavernier heads it down to Lammers, back to Wright on the right-hand side. And it goes again to Lammers. Good feet from him initially. It goes back the way though to Raskan. Raskan checks one way then the other. Now Goldson on the halfway line. Rangers looking for a way through before the interval. Forward it goes to Wright. That's a lovely turn away from Jurozovic. Good ball in as well. Sima looks to attack it. He can't get there, and it's going to be a free kick because he's caught Boakia there inside the penalty area as he tried desperately to get on the end of it. It's another good looking ball from Scott Wright. These early balls in, they do have the potential to cause a bit of havoc, but Aris Limassol dealt with that pretty well, and it does remain deep into first half stoppage time. Aris Limassol 1, Rangers 0.
It was a terrific ball, right across that, just across that 6-yard box. But again, you look at it, where's that desire, where's that hunger, to get yourself in there, and get on the end of the cross. I don't quite see it. I think it's been extremely poor the first half from a Rangers point of view. We thought we'd get that reaction, that desire, that fight. I don't see it one bit, and even in general play, you look at the middle of the park, you look at Raskin, Lundstrom, they've been way off it in terms of keeping the ball. And Aris Limassol, they look so comfortable, to be honest with you. I must say that earlier they could have been 2-3-0 up, but yeah, Steve Davis and Alec Ray, I tell you what, they've got a big team talk at half time, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, they might have further worries here because Aris Limassol have won themselves a free kick midway inside the Rangers half, very central area. It's too far out for a shot certainly, but they could try and create something. We've played just over 5 minutes now of stoppage time. It was meant to be 4, but then there was the further stoppage for treatment to the goalkeeper of Aris Limassol, Vanna. Here's the free kick taken by Babicka, came all the way back from the edge of the penalty area to take that, and then he's linked up down the right-hand side with Bengtson, who, can he catch it? Manages to keep it in. Gomez, was there a handball in there? That's the claim from the Aris players. They're surrounding the referee, whose decision to make here, and I wasn't sure that Bengtson was going to be able to keep that in, but if he did do, then there could well be a check here for handball. The referee has awarded the goal kick initially. Let's try and get a view on this.
Yeah, it keeps it in.
It does keep it in. Sure. Yeah, and then it comes back. Does it come off the arm there of Sima, Derek?
It does. Yeah, it does. And again, it just typifies Rangers tonight. They're caught sleeping.
Well, the half-time whistle has blown. That doesn't mean necessarily that the check can't be made and still awarded. In fact, the check, I've just seen that the check is over. It did seem to come off maybe the midriff rather of Sima than the hand, but it's been a desperately poor first half as far as Rangers are concerned. They were troubled early on. Mayambela had a shot saved, and Jack Butland was called into action a couple of times before he was eventually beaten in just 9 minutes as a corner kick was played back to Bengtson, who crossed first time. And there was Alex Mukatu Musunda, completely unmarked, little more than 6 yards out, and he rose to glance the ball beyond Jack Butland for the opening goal of the game. Rangers were, as Derek has been saying, well off it in that first half, and it could have been further problems for them as Bengtson passed them a massive chance just 3 minutes later when he fired off target, when he really should have scored and put Aris 2-0 up. Lammers and Dessers have been trying to combine on the edge of the penalty area, and then Sima played Dessers through midway through the first half for him to roll beyond the goalkeeper. Rangers momentarily thought they had an equaliser. Then the assistant's flag went up. It did look to be offside. Although the check took an absolute age, it was ultimately decided that he was offside, Dessers, and so the goal was chopped out. Sima had a late header straight at the keeper as Rangers fractionally improved, but that's really not saying much from a very low starting point. And so the half-time scoreline in Limassol is Aris 1, Rangers 0.
Rangers in the Europa League.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
So a hugely disappointing first 45 minutes for Rangers, and perhaps fortunate only to be one goal down. The other game in the group is 1-1 at half-time. Veljko Birmancevic with the opener for Sparta Prague, which was quickly cancelled out by Asani Dayo for Real Betis. So Real Betis 1, Sparta Prague 1 in the other games involving the British sides. Lucas Paqueta has scored early on for West Ham. They're 1-0 up in Germany against Freiburg. And it's not been a European campaign to remember so far for Brighton, having lost their opening game. They are to AEK Athens at home. They are 2-0 down in France against Marseille. In the Conference League, of course, to come later, 8 o'clock kickoff here at Pataudry, where the weather has worsened. It's maybe just not quite as windy, but it's wet, it's dull, it's very, very cold. So, as I said earlier, if you are coming along to the game, make sure you are well wrapped up. Aberdeen against HKK Helsinki. The other game in the group, PAOK against Eintracht Frankfurt. We'll keep you across that with live commentary, of course, to come from Pataudry. We'll speak to Willie shortly, who is here readying himself for this one. Let's get Stephen Thompson's take on the first 45 minutes in Cyprus. 1-0 for Limassol as it stands, Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, having watched the opening 15 minutes, you're thinking to yourself that Rangers really should have been 2 goals down. The chance that was missed in the centre of the 6-yard box goes down as, you know, a real sitter. Rangers were looking incredibly disjointed. I think overall the first half it's been a pretty dysfunctional performance, but you've got to take some positives, and the positives are that they limited then Limassol after that start. They had the shot that was saved by Butland. They had the missed opportunity. They had the goal, which is so poor from a Rangers perspective, not picking up properly in the middle of the box, and the header was fairly simple in the end. So at that point in time you're thinking, this is horrendous, properly horrendous. I think they recovered, I wouldn't say well, but they recovered enough to stem the flow from Limassol, and then didn't really then take advantage of that. They didn't go and put their own mark in the game in terms of creating opportunities. A couple of crosses flashing into dangerous areas, yeah, fine, you'd expect that. The Dessers goal that was ruled correctly offside is probably the only moment where they've really cut open the Limassol defence. But you know, you're looking for Rangers to have a reaction from the weekend's performance and losing their manager. And a lot of these players will be carrying guilt about losing their manager, because ultimately they're responsible for the performances in the pitch. That has not been an uptake or an upgrade in performance. That has not been a visible, right, let's go out there. And you heard James Tavernier talking before the match about the respect that they all have for Steve Davis, and they'll do their utmost to give everything they have for him. Not really seen that. It's been a nervy performance. It's been a performance by a team who look like large parts haven't played together before, and you leave the opening half with even more question marks about this Rangers side rather than a reaction. So for me it's been very, very disappointing.
And as we touched on earlier, Stephen, not an awful lot to turn to in the bench, so it is largely going to be down to these guys to turn this game round.
Yeah, it is. And again, have you seen anything radically different from what we've seen in Rangers performances so far this season when Michael Beale was in charge? And the answer to that is no, really. When Rangers do build into reasonable areas, I think that they've been very, very poor on the ball. I think Lundstrom, lots of giveaways. Lammers, who finds themselves in decent areas at the time, is giving the ball away on umpteen occasions. So when they get into the final third, you watch them play, a number of games this season, they lack a bit of pace, they lack a bit of invention, they lack a bit of creativity. And that's the same story as we're seeing play out tonight in that first half. When you look to the bench, is Roof going to be fit enough to make an impact in the game? He's missed a few weeks. Cifuentes, well, we've seen enough of him so far to say that, I doubt he would have a big impact on the game. And then you're mostly looking at kids, unless you're bringing on defenders. So limited options in terms of players who can come on and really make a difference. But I think the Rangers players that are on the pitch have a responsibility to put in a better performance. I mean, yeah, I heard the guys talking about the pitch during the first half. I'm not seeing Limassol make the same amount of mistakes on the ball as I'm seeing Rangers making. And in possession, they have to be better. This is not a good... I don't want to do them a disservice. This is not a top side that they're playing against, this Limassol side. It's not as if you're out there with your backs against the wall and you're not having a lot of the ball. Rangers have had, I'd guess 60% possession of the ball. But what are they doing with it? They're doing absolutely nothing with it. And I mentioned when Al came to me about the positioning of Barisic and Tavernier, and for years we've seen the difference they can make when they play higher in games. You only need to go back to the last game against Betis, when in the first half everybody on the pitch was playing quite deep and Rangers were absorbing a bit of pressure, and in the second half they grew confidence against Betis, and you saw the fullbacks getting forward into higher areas, and everybody just moves up the pitch and then they look a bit more threatening. I don't know why they don't play like that from the start. For me, that is their biggest threat, is when these two players get into good areas. So, you're not going to... Steve Davis isn't going to come in the space of 3 days working with a group of players who have been underperforming and have a magic wand and turn it around. I mean, that, you're just not expecting that to happen, but I was expecting a better performance and certainly a performance with more tempo, more aggression than I've seen tonight. So far, there's, as I said, far more question marks to be answered for this Rangers side.
Well, certainly it's been lethargic at times. There have been, plenty of mistakes, some very poor defending, at least for the goal, but also for one or two of the other opportunities that Limassol were afforded in the opening 45 minutes. They lead by 1-0. Rangers need to turn things round in the second half. In just a moment or two, we can look ahead to the Conference League tie here at Pittodrie. Aberdeen taking on Helsinki, of course. That to come in just a moment.
Scotland in the Rugby World Cup.
And Scotland do have another try.
Every tackle and every try lives here.
That was a driving, rolling, racing ball to the line.
All the news from rugby's biggest stage.
The BBC Radio Scotland Rugby Podcast.
Listen on BBC Sound. And Ireland versus Scotland.
Try again for Scotland to seal this win.
A place in the World Cup quarter-finals on the line with a full live commentary of that massive showdown with the Irish.
It's going to take one of the greatest performances in the nation's history to get this done.
Saturday from 7.
Listen on digital radio or ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
This is Sports Sound. That is going to be quite an occasion. We are live here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We're halfway through the game in Cyprus. It's Europa League. Aris Limassol 1-0 up against Rangers. We've still got live commentary to come. The second half there. Then the whole game from here at Pittodrie. But it will be Aberdeen against HJK Helsinki. Rangers going into their tie on a real low, given everything that's happened in the last few days. I think fair to say, Willie Miller, that your old team going into their Conference League tie in a very different frame of mind after the last couple of weeks or so for Aberdeen.
Yeah, Richard, that is exactly how the situation is. Aberdeen find themselves after that very poor Hearts performance, and it was poor, by any standard. Very little football played, looked pretty open at the back as well, and didn't create much at all during that game. And then going into the Frankfurt game, what a turnaround. And I think that's where it's all started. I know that's where it's all started. The shape was good, going with the 5 rather than the 3. It gives you a real solid foundation to build on. They've got creativity in midfield, and they've got a couple of players up top that can score goals. Majowski in particular, always looking a threat, really top-notch player. So I think the confidence and probably more importantly the belief is there from Aberdeen now. Coming away from that Frankfurt game and then taking on Ross County in the double header, getting themselves through in the cup competition as well to the semi-final, and then of course demolishing Rangers down at Ibrox, which is an event that doesn't happen too often. They were very worthy winners after that first half hour. Yeah, Rangers could have been in the lead, maybe 3 or 4 good opportunities, but they didn't take them, and Aberdeen punished them and really dominated the game from then on in. So there is that belief, there is that performance level that Barry Robson has managed to eventually find. He was always confident that he was going to find it, and he has found it. And I think the crowd that will be here tonight, the fans that will come along, will be full of enthusiasm, taking on HJK Helsinki, and you know, with the thought that this is a game that they can win, and I would thoroughly agree with that. The recent performances, I think, has proven that they can do that, and I feel tonight is one, particularly at home. I think your home games in Europe in this group section are vitally important. I think this is probably the most important one to get off, you know, with some points in the bag, and 3 preferably, and giving themselves a chance in this group section.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people would look at this and say this is if you're going to pick a game that they're most likely to win, this is it, isn't it? It has to be the home game against HJK Helsinki.
Yeah, but Richard, I think you know, you look at the performance in Frankfurt, you look at the way they played. It was an excellent performance. We were very unlucky not to come away with you know, something from that game. The expectations were so low, weren't they, going into that game? Fans talking about, well, if we keep it to 3-0, we'll be quite happy. Load of nonsense it was on the night. And then you look at going down to Ibrox as well and taking on Rangers. Yeah, Rangers not in a great situation themselves, form-wise, but you've still got to do it. You've still got to go to Ibrox, deal with that crowd and the quality of players that Rangers have, and really beat them pretty well. You know, the 3-1 victory must give them belief, must give them confidence, and I think, yeah, you're looking at this one, but don't lower your expectations. The expectations should rise with the performances, and the performances in these 2 games against 2 top teams, you know, Rangers and Frankfurt, must give them belief that they can not just do Helsinki, but the other 2 teams in the group at home as well. And you know, if they play the way they have been playing, then I think they've got a decent chance, you know, in the group section. We'll have to wait and see, but I think, you know, with your own eyes, you're seeing these performances. They're getting better all the time, and I think the confidence will be pretty high in the dressing room. Well,
just quickly, because I know the Rangers players and Limassol players will be coming back out again, but we have just been made aware of the team news. So it's Roos in goal, Devlin, Gartenman, Rubezic, Jensen and McKenzie, Clarkson, Shinney and McGrath, Miofsky and Lopez. So the striker in for Paul Vara in the Chase of the Dons team.
I called it, Richard. There's no way that they're not going to start without Duke tonight, surely. A home game. Duke and Miofsky is the potent strike force that they have. I was hugely confident that would be the case. Polvara has done extremely well, but I think this is a night for Duke.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? I mean, you're saying they're potent. He's got 1 goal this season, and he hasn't quite been the player he was last, has he? Whereas Miofsky has been.
Potency doesn't disappear, Richard. He had it last season.
I'll leave that hanging in the air.
He was a slow starter last season as well.
He was.
And he came to the fore. So I've still got
potency. Right, I've got no idea what you're saying. I don't know what's quite happened, but suddenly I can't hear your words, Willie Miller. So I'm not quite sure what is going on, but I will get back to you. The match just getting underway in Limassol. So let's get back to our commentary team of Derek Ferguson and Al Lamont.
Yes, plenty of time to talk about Aberdeen later on, and Rangers against Aris Limassol is back underway for a good 25 seconds now, and Rangers unchanged at the break, as are their opponents, and clearly Rangers still trailing by that 9th minute goal to nil, and they've got to buck up their ideas in the second period. It would be interesting to have been a fly on the wall in that Rangers dressing room to find out just exactly what Stephen Davis and Alex Ray did say to the players, but hopefully from their perspective it pays dividends and they come out a better team in the second half, because they certainly did not show the best version of themselves, to use a modern phrase, in that first period. Here's Sima who was perhaps the best of Rangers outfield players in that opening half, playing it all the way back though to Goldson on the halfway line. And now Lundstrom out to the right hand side to Tavernier. Tavernier plays it in low, but it's easily cut out by the goal scorer Mukatu Masunda up the way towards Gomez. Goldson just taking a rather heavy touch and takes a chance against Gomez, gets away with it, and he does win the free kick. But there was no real reason to take such a chance. He could have simply played it back to his goalkeeper, but no harm done on that occasion, Derek.
I get away with one, certainly there. You know, just labouring towards the ball. You know, the player could have got in there. Same with Tavernier as well. You know, really slack at the start of the second half. And no, there's only one word to describe Rangers in that first half. They were woeful, absolutely. So I say that about standards, they've got to step up surely, and things can only get better. But no, again, they've started the second half in poor fashion.
Tavernier with a throw in down near the corner flag on the right hand side, gets it back from right and turns it back to Lundstrom over in the right hand touchline, coming in off that touchline, plays the ball left footed out to this near side to Barisic. Rangers going from right to left as we look at it from our little booth in the main stand here. Again, Rangers forward play breaks down, out of play though from the Aris fullback Boyaki, and here's Raskan picking up on the quickly taken throw in. Lundstrom feigns to shoot, gets it to right. Raskan lifts it over for Tavernier, who fires it back in towards the penalty spot. No takers there, and Aris deal with the danger pretty well actually. And it's Mayambela who picks up and drives his side forward. It's a good ball, and Bengtsson can play it forward now for Babicka. Babicka with Barisic trying to get back at him, checks onto the left foot. Bengtsson leaves it. Mayambela with a chance on the left foot, over the top from Mayambela. A good counter-attack from Aris. It wasn't quite as promising as it looked at one stage, and again Rangers get off with one, but Aris do look dangerous on that counter, Derek.
Yeah, they get plenty of pace, certainly in the final third. And, should have done a lot better, the boy there. But again, just you look at Raskin, you look at Lundstrom in the middle of the park, just not reacting to the situation, slow to get back. The poor performance is continuing. I say it's not always what you do with the ball, it's what you do without it. And without the ball, Rangers pretty poor.
Here's Lundstrom, halfway line. Tavernier outside of him, and he finds him with the outside of the right boot. Tavernier about 15 yards inside the Aris half, but it's a slack ball again to Raskan, and now Davies has got to chase back as Aris come forward looking for a second goal, and it's Babicka looking to take Davies on the outside. Cuts back inside of him onto the left foot. Babicka shot blocked by Davies. And again, Rangers looking vulnerable at the back, but here they come on the counter as Raskan lifts it over the top. It's not a great ball, but Sima trying to make the best of it. He's done well. Sima with a shot, Sima with a goal, and he's going to be booked here for kicking the ball away because the whistle had already gone. That looked like a pretty soft free kick, I have to say, as he seemed to just outmuscle Steve Yago and then bury the ball beyond the keeper. Not too dissimilar almost to the goal he scored against Livingston in the League Cup recently. Let's look at the rerun of the challenge first of all, Derek. There's a bit of contact there between him and Yago, possibly enough to send them down, but he goes into the referee's notebook for kicking the ball away after the free kick was given.
Yeah, just two of them tussling for the ball there, and as a soft free kick. I can't believe he's got booked, because I don't think he hears the whistle. The referee does blow, but he doesn't hear it. Continues and sticks the ball in the back of the net, but a bit harsh to get a yellow card. But I think it's our best option, going a little bit longer, using Sima certainly down this left-hand side, over the top, a little bit of pace and the power that he's got. But because anything just going through the middle of the park, it's non-existent, to be honest with you. The two boys in there, Lundstrom, Raskin, I've spoke often enough about them tonight. Not at it, that's for sure.
Aris Limassol are currently 5th in the Cypriot League after 6 games. Haven't started the season on great form either, just like their opponents tonight, but they're certainly having the better of the exchanges so far in this game. Sima probably just enough in that challenge to merit the award of the free kick. We'll try and get a word with Stephen as well in a break of play and see what he thought about it once he's seen the various reruns. Here come Aris up towards the halfway line, and it's Gomez holding play up really well. And now it's played forward almost into the path of Bengtson there. And Rangers managed to win it back just outside their own penalty area as Babicka threatened to break through the defence. And Rangers have it back, and it's Lundstrom playing it forward from just inside the centre circle out to Sima. Sima's got the better there of Boakye, and now he's gone past him, and this could be a booking for Boakye. Right on the edge of the box, the free kick has been given. Very, very close to the edge of the penalty area, and it will be a free kick to Rangers in a promising position, just a yard or so outside the box. Ideal territory, you would have to say, for James Tavernier.
Yeah, and again we talk about that option of, going over the top for Sima, with that power and that pace that he's got, and Boakye there just really struggling. At the end up Sima just out muscles him, but yeah, it's a great opportunity. Left hand side, it certainly favours a right footer, Tavernier, so he's only 20 yards out at the angle. He's certainly capable. He's had a poor night so far, we've got to say that.
He's not alone there.
Yeah, there's a number of Rangers players have been extremely poor, but this is certainly this is where he can make a difference, try and claw Rangers back into. They need to find something from somewhere, because as I say, it's just not been happening.
Barisic also over this, but it's left of centre, a good 15 yards left of centre, as the four-man wall lines up and the player lying behind the wall to ensure that it doesn't go underneath it. Tavernier then steps up, curls one, comes off the wall and all the way up to the halfway line, where Nico Raskin's the only player back for Rangers. He plays it forward once more, looking for Goldson, who was waiting on it, unlike Jurosevic, who came out and met it and cleared his lines. And it's away, and the Rangers free kick comes to nothing, as Jurosevic has just hurt himself in that challenge. Just a quick word maybe from Stephen Thompson about the free kick that was awarded against Sima, and generally Rangers start to the second half, Stephen.
Yeah, Sima looks like the one Rangers player who would carry a threat this evening. Derek's right, the ball over the top. He is very, very quick, and he has looked dangerous at the start of the second half. For me,
here is Sima from the edge of the box, great save. Dessers on the rebound, turn it home. Dessers gets spinned, still can't knock in the rebound, and the keeper recovers to gather. And Sima again causing the havoc inside the Aris Limassol box. Is a good save from Vanna, albeit the shot was right at him. And Dessers again cannot find the finish, and it remains Aris Limassol 1, Rangers 0.
Yeah, he's been the most threatening player, Sima, there again. It's that the ball over the top, gets a little bit lucky, but I tell you what, it's a fantastic striking. And Dessers, he reacts to it, but the but is, he can't get the connection. He get a shot off, and in the Aris Limassol, they get bodies back. It's a fantastic save, got to say, but it's just that reaction. It bobbles up at it's an awkward height for Dessers. Can't quite get it down to get the shot off, and it's probably Rangers' best moment so far.
Apologies for cutting Stephen Thompson off in his prime. We'll hear from him again soon. You'll hear that there's a bit of a delay on our line back to Glasgow, where Stephen's in the studio, so it's slightly tricky to engage that from time to time, but we will hear from him in a few minutes. Here's Sima once more though in the left channel, playing it forward for Barisic. Barisic almost at the goal line, into the penalty area comes his cross, breaks for Lundstrom, poor shot is blocked away, and Aris can come clear. And down the right hand side they come as they try to stretch their advantage. That's not a great pass though in the middle of the park from Boakye, and Rangers have it back, and it's Raskin back out to Barisic. It does feel like they've lifted their performance somewhat, although Sima just gets his feet all wrong there and knocks the ball out of play. But he does look like the most dangerous outlet for Rangers.
Yeah, they've stepped up the pace, they're moving the ball a little bit quicker, but he is the biggest threat, Sima, so they've got to get down this left-hand side, get it to him, and let him get a run at Boakye, because he's certainly got the beating of him. But
yeah, and he's now in a yellow card as well.
But that's it. That is it probably so far for Rangers. Sima, he's only you've given marks out of 10. There's not many getting over 5, but certainly Sima, he's doing his bit, trying to inspire the rest of the players, but not stepping up to the mark.
Here he is once more, angle of the box, left-hand side. It's not the best pass though, and Aris can break forward through Bengtson. Raskin working away. It's Scott Wright though who brings Bengtson down, and Aris trying to take the free kick quickly, but they'll have to come back and take it again. And it will be a free kick to Aris Limassol just inside their own half. Stephen, let's get let you finish what you were trying to say there a few moments ago.
Yeah, you were talking about the disallowed goal for Sima. I felt as though there was contact in the back of the defender. He did go down awfully easily. It would come into the soft category, but when a defender's facing his own goal and a striker goes into his back, more often than not you'll see a foul given. But he is without doubt Rangers' best player at this minute in time. I do feel as though they have upped the tempo a wee bit, however that wouldn't be hard given the first half tempo.
Yeah, I almost had to cut you off again there as Bengtson came close to breaking through the Rangers backline, but they just managed to deal with it in the end. And the great Scottish public was able to hear your thoughts as slid out of play there well by the Polish midfielder Julius Suka on the halfway line. Nico Raskan in a hurry to try and take the throw, and eventually he'll leave it to Barisic, though, as there's a player down who's been waved to his feet. Actually, I think it's Boakie down there, but eventually the referee is going to, I think, have to allow him some treatment. But Aris Limassol, understandably you would have to say, just trying to run the clock down any chance they get now, Derek.
Yeah, but looks so comfortable in this game tonight. You can see Rangers trying to lift the tempo, but so hard. You know, you've got to start the game well, you know, get on the front foot, and Rangers have started slowly, been so slack in their play. You can see that obviously the team talk that Stephen Davis, maybe Alec Ray, try to G them up a little bit, but they've got to do it as a group, they've got to do it as an individual as well, and you know, certainly get up to the standards that's required, and they've so far fell way short.
Lundstrom on the halfway line to Goldson just inside his own half, inside the centre circle, looking for options. Eventually just goes short to Lundstrom, who tries to pass it out to Tavernier, but plays it straight to Bengtson, who's now trying to take him on for pace, and he's done him for pace, and he's up towards the edge of the box. Can he find a teammate? Has a goal! Aris Limassol double their advantage, and it's an absolute catastrophe for John Lundstrom as Xavi Babicka tucks it home after a horrendous error by Lundstrom. He was then completely skinned down the line by Bengtson, who crossed for Babicka, and there he was at the edge of the 6-yard box to knock it beyond Jack Butland. And after just under an hour in Cyprus, it's Aris Limassol 2, Rangers 0.
And it's what they deserve. You know, Lundstrom, he's having it's a hellish night for him. You know, it's so slack, but then just outpaced, couldn't match him. It's a fantastic ball from Benskin, and Babicka just in there, you know, get a good connection into the back of the net. And you know, you don't see this range. You look at the, I mean, I'm just looking at them individually, collectively. There's no one falling out with each other. Nobody's getting after anybody. There just seems to be an acceptance, which, you know, it's a horrible thing to watch and to see. But you know, you've got to match, you know, a team in terms of their effort, their desire. But they've outplayed Rangers at times as well, which is probably the biggest surprise of all.
Xavi Babicka joins his fellow Gabon international Alex Mokhtou Masunda on the score sheet. He came on to score against Sparta Prague, and he scored again here tonight to put Aris Limassol well in command of this tie with just over half an hour left to play. Rangers are on the ropes here, and they are really struggling to make any sort of impact in the game. And it's a really dismal night so far for Stephen Davis in his first game as interim manager, and he's got to go to his bench now and try and provoke some sort of reaction, because this by any stretch has been way short of what the Rangers fans, who have travelled in their numbers and spent a lot of money to do so, what they would be expecting here. As Davies lifts it over the top, he's looking for Dessers, but it's going to be an easy take for Vanna in the Cypriot goal. Bengtson just taking advantage of that Lundstrom error before showing him a clean pair of heels down the left-hand side. But it's a wonderful ball in. He's now got 2 assists in the game, set up both goals. And Aris Limassol are good value for the 2-goal lead, and that is an indictment on this Rangers side. 61 on the clock, and it's Goldson firing it long, looking for Sima. Sima takes it down in the chest. Boakie trying to stay with him. Dessers can't get onto it. He looks like a figure who is just so short of confidence, and I saw Kemar Roof coming out for the second half with the bib still on, but I wonder how fit he is and how long Stephen Davis can ask him to play this evening. I see him warming up actually down away to our left-hand side. Rangers trail by 2-0 on a quite dreadful evening in Limassol. This would be a really poor result if it stays the way it is. Here's Scott Wright though, trying to make something happen. Lammers pokes it towards Raskan, but Boaki is there first and just hammers it downfield. Stephen Thompson, can you believe what you're seeing here?
Well, to be honest with you, given the quality of the performance in the first half, then yeah, I can. I mean, Lundstrom's having a particularly bad night. He looks so short of confidence, as do 90% of this team out there. It was such a poor mistake. But then when the ball comes in, I don't think Goldson and Davies do enough to stop the player getting there first to tap home. Just such a poor game. It's a team with no confidence. You can see that. And they've got no belief, no leadership. You used the word dreadful a few minutes ago, and I think that pretty much sums up this performance so far on the hour.
Out for a throw-in, another unforced error over on the far side. The ball's out for a...
And that's quite incredible, Al. You know, you're talking about a player asked to make a 10-yard pass, you know, and he just puts it out the park. And, you know, yeah, you can look at it lack of confidence, but just as a group, you know, there's nobody getting after one another, you know. It's just an acceptance. It's just a horrible thing to watch and see, you know, because, you know, these players out there, we believed that, you know, they had that quality, that they were capable certainly to play at this level, but they're just all over the place at the moment.
That's good play from Lammers on the right-hand side, trying to find Dessers. Again, Aris Limassol able to just clear their lines. 63 minutes on the clock. Aris Limassol 2, Rangers 0. Rangers have never lost to Cypriot opposition. That's a good ball in. Dessers though can't get onto it. He's claiming he was being pulled back, and of course VAR are in attendance. He's going to be booked though for his protests. VAR will of course check everything that goes on inside the penalty area. He says he was having his jersey pulled. He needs to just calm down because he's still going on at the referee, having collected the yellow card, and he could easily collect a second as we get a chance to look at a replay. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's nothing in that, Al. You know, it's just, again, it's just that. Does he want to get there? Has he got the desire to get to that ball? I think he's looking for the easy option. You know, having a go at the referee, picking up a booking, and yeah, he needs to just quell it a little bit, because, you know, sometimes these referees, you know, when you have a go at them, just produce another one. Maybe that's what he wants. Maybe he wants out of this situation at the moment. That's what it looks like to me.
Checks over. There didn't look to be anything in it in the replays that we were seeing. And the VAR of Vidya Hatigan of Romania agrees with the on-field decision of Horacio Fesnic, which is there was nothing for Dessers to be complaining about, but he did earn himself a yellow card for his vociferous complaint. Sima has it back to Barisic. Rangers have just over 25 minutes plus stoppage time to somehow salvage something from this horrendous evening so far in Limassol. They would bite your hand off for a point right now, I would imagine. But that seems like a forlorn hope, the way they've been playing in this opening period, as Aris look like they're going to make their first change of the game. In fact, a couple of subs being readied as Rangers come forward on the left-hand side. Aris just looking to ensure that they retain the control that they have in this contest. Morgan Brown and Alexander Kokorin of Russia about to come on. Brown had a short spell at Aberdeen, actually. Don't think he saw any senior action. But another Rangers move has broken down, albeit Raskan sticks a leg in, and then Sima will try and cause problems here inside the penalty. He's done well to get in ahead of Boaki. He's forced out to the left-hand side though. Sima gets it across goal. No takers there. It's behind a couple of Rangers players in Lammers and Dessers. And the Rangers fans behind that goal there of Vanna, I think, are becoming more and more frustrated at what they're seeing out there, Derek, and it's entirely understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been absolutely horrendous, and you can see Aris, you know, just sitting off it a little bit, soaking up a little bit of pressure. But it's just Rangers' use of the ball. It's been extremely poor. Their best option, it's Sima down the left-hand side, up against Bayoka. That's the best option, and it looks like at the moment is this where the Rangers are just looking for long balls over the top to Sima, because they're showing absolutely nothing. You know, certainly in the middle of the park up top. Lack of movement, lack of desire, lack of good all-round play.
Well, we're going to get changes for both sides here, and Roof and Cifuentes are coming on for Rangers, who need something different, that's for absolutely sure. But it's going to be the home side changes that take place first, and it's going to be Morgan Brown, as I mentioned, coming on in the middle of the park to replace Karol Strutsky, and then Alexander Kokorin, who I was chatting to Derek about and telling him about his checkered past. He's a Russian player of some pedigree in the sense he's got 12 international goals and 48 appearances for Russia, but more recently than that he served about a year in jail for what was termed hooliganism. He and a former international teammate assaulting a Russian government official and put away for it, and he's now trying to revive his football career. He was the player of the year here in Cyprus last year as they won the league. He was on loan from Fiorentina, as he is again, and he's come in on for the closing few minutes as Roof and Cifuentes replace Raskan and Lammers, and the manager Stephen Davis gives them both a handshake, but
nothing more than that, Al.
Yeah.
And again, you know, you don't want to read too much into it, but you look at the body language of the players, and Stephen Davis and Alec Ray, you know, so they don't even want to kind of clap eyes in each other. Quite surprised that Lundstrom stayed on the park, because he's not had a good night, that's for sure, but you can clearly see that Raskin struggling with whatever injury that he has got. He's just struggled all night.
Yeah, it was asking a lot to come straight back in after those 4 games out for Nico Raskan, as Rangers pick up possession. It's a heavy touch from Sima, but he manages to keep it and find Cifuentes, who's come on. Now Goldson just inside his own half. We've got a quarter of the game to go. Rangers trail by 2-0. Here's Roof trying to make an impact on the right hand side of the penalty area. Done well to keep possession there. Wright has wriggled through a couple of challenges, tries to squeeze it back through to Roof. He couldn't quite manage it, and Aris again managed to work it clear, and here they come forward in the counter once more with Gomes, and now it is the substitute Corin. He's challenged well there by Cifuentes, who is fouled by the Russian, and it'll be a free kick to Rangers on the halfway line. 2-0 the trail, and they haven't really looked like making an impact at the other end, although here they try to do so as Tavernier sends it in. Iago with a headed clearance high up in the air. That's a poor attempt there by Mayambela, as Barisic picks up on the left hand side, swings the cross into the box, won't fall for Dessers. Can Tavernier make anything of it? Up against Mayambela again. Here's the rather beleaguered Lundstrom having to check back, and plays it back to Davies. Ben Davies comes forward, clips it to the back post. Tavernier rises, nods it down out of the penalty area. It comes to Lundstrom once more, right hand side, swings it back in. That's a good ball. Sima's hit a goal. Rangers back in it, and it's Abdallah Sima, their best player on the night, and Lundstrom redeeming himself somewhat with a lovely ball into the penalty area. Sima rose, downward header, away to the goalkeeper's left. Game on. Aris 2, Rangers 1.
Yeah, it's a terrific goal as well. You know, it's a good ball, but it's the movement. You know, just gets away from his marker. He's well out as well. He's about, what, 12 yards out, and it gets real power on the header. You know, a good ball in, but we've been speaking about it all night. You know, he's been Rangers' best player, and deservedly, you know, gets his shot. It's a beautiful header, so it generates the power as well. It's not the paces of crosses in, but just gets those, flexes those neck muscles, and, you know, powers it past the keeper to his left-hand side.
Stephen Thompson, your take on that? Was a header you would have been proud of in your day?
Absolutely. Perfect header. The ball in from Lundstrom's into a really good area, but he's still got a lot to do from a good kind of 10, 11 yards. Headers it back across the goalkeeper and down into the corner. Textbook header and a lifeline for Rangers. You know, you didn't see that coming, but it just shows you what can happen if you put good deliveries into the box, and it's no surprise to see Sima just looking. I didn't know whether Tavernier in the first phase of play was offside when he headed the ball back to Lundstrom, so that might be something that they're checking at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's being checked. Rangers could really do without this being chopped off. They've had so little to enthuse about and be positive about in the first period, and Sima awaits confirmation or otherwise of his 6th goal of the season. He is their top scorer. But now that you mentioned it, Stephen, it did occur to me as the ball came into Tavernier whether he had been offside. The assistant on the far side kept the flag down, but that doesn't necessarily tell the full story as VAR continues to check Sima's goal. He points to the centre spot, is given, and Sima kisses the ground, and he does have his 6th goal of the season. Rangers have a lifeline in the game. 2-1 they trail with just under 20 minutes of the regulation 90 to play, Derek.
Yeah, certainly gives them hope now, and he's been their best player all night, Sima. You know, he showed that desire, that hunger.
Here come Aris once more. It's just behind Kokorian there. They might have made more of it, but Rangers, having just got themselves back into the game, almost falling behind once more as Rufus penalised, and it'll be a free kick to Aris.
I'm saying about that desire and that hunger, but that was a real moment of quality. And Lundstrom, he's been so far tonight, he's been extremely poor, but it was a terrific cross, but still had a lot to do with the header, and it's certainly Rangers' best moment, and you know, it just gives them a little bit of hope, try and instill a little bit of confidence into this group of players to see if they can salvage something.
Rangers have it through Ben Davies, plays it square to Connor Goldson midway inside his own half, and then forward it goes, looking for Dessers over the top. Won't get there though, the keeper's out to grab that. Abdallah Sima in his 3rd European goal of the season. In fact, it's his 4th goal in his last 4 starts, including the winner against Real Betis, of course. Such a valuable goal that was, and he's given them something to work with here this evening. But still trail by 2-1 with 17 minutes left on the clock.
The thing is, if they do salvage, you know, a point or even going to get a win, it's the level of performance from this group of players. It's way, way below what you would expect, and you know, you just think the next manager coming in, he's got his work cut out.
Babic's getting to the penalty area. It's come for Kokorian. Big chance, great save by Jack Butland. Keeps Rangers in the game as Kokorian looked destined to score. He got it onto his left foot, but Butland goes down, made himself big, and forces the ball over the top. That is a top save.
It's absolutely brilliant. You know, Kokorian, he should be scoring, but that's what Butland's all about. You know, he's been a real positive, you know, signing that Michael Beale brought in. I'm just having a little look at it here. Yeah, he comes out, narrows the angle, gets a knee. I think it comes off the leg, but you know, keeps Rangers in the game.
That is, I would have to say, Alan McGregor-esque from Jack Butland, and there's little praise that could be any higher than that in terms of Rangers goalkeepers. As Aris prepared to take the corner kick, it's Jurozovic from the right-hand side, plays it short to Brown. He's got a 2-on-1 here, back to Jurozovic, flights it towards the back post. That's a handball used there, and that's going to be a yellow card for Gomez. I'm not sure why on earth he threw the arm up there. It's a daft one, and now it's all rather kicking off inside that Rangers penalty area as Tavernier takes issue with something, but Gomez is going to see the yellow. Just a daft decision there from the striker.
Yeah, crazy. You know, he's never getting there and just extends the arm, trying to put it into the back of it with his hands. So the referee quite rightly gives him a yellow card. Well, Rangers, you know, they're getting into the latter stages now. You know, they've got a little bit of hope, a little bit of confidence, maybe starting to go through the side. Can they salvage it?
Well, I'm not sure too many people would have been putting money on it when they went 2-0 down, but they have got it back to 2-1 with 15 to play. As Dessers continues to battle away up there, he's getting very, very little joy. Here he has it once more, he's back to goal, gives it to Lundstrom, he's given it away again. He did provide that assist for the goal that Rangers have got back, but otherwise it's been a really poor night for the Scouser in the heart of the Rangers midfield. There's Tavernier lifting it over the top, looking for Dessers. He was fouled right at the edge of the box. That was a sore one there, and it's going to be a free kick in a very, very promising position, just right of centre. What, 22 yards out, Derek? This is a really good opportunity here.
It certainly is, and it's the one ball that's caused Aris problems. Just that long straight ball over the top. You know, that initially, you know, been trying to find Sima, but this time Dessers, and you know, he wins him wins the team a free kick, and it's a central position as well. So maybe Tavernier, maybe Barisic, but certainly in the range.
Yeah, absolutely. It's again, just because it's right of centre, you would normally fancy a left footer, but we've seen Tavernier reverse these on multiple occasions, so don't rule him out, albeit he had the goal in the first half that came off the top of the wall, so maybe it's Barisic's turn, but certainly Tavernier has a higher ratio of goals from this kind of area, so maybe the skipper will just continue to exert his authority. Let's see, can Rangers grab the equaliser from the edge of the penalty area here? It's a 4 or 5 man wall there. Rangers have got men just in front of the wall as well to try and block the goalkeeper's view. Is it Tavernier? Is it Barisic? Lundstrom goes and has a look as well, but it will be one of the full-backs to strike this. It is Barisic who lifts it over the top, and it's disappointing in the end from the Croatian, never troubling the goalkeeper. And with 77 minutes on the clock, it remains Aris 2, Rangers 1.
Yeah, he's normally better from that range, certainly. Just trying to clip it into that top left-hand corner, just putting it, what is it, a yard or two past the post. But Rangers showing signs, that they can get something out of this game, but they need more moments like that.
Another Aris change is going to be forthcoming just in a few moments, as Rangers try to come forward once more down the right-hand side. Dessers, though, again can't keep a hold of it. Does break to Lundstrom on the halfway line, clips it now, looking for Roof, who's just got in behind the full-back. Jurosevic, early ball in, but it's too much on it. Sima will race across here to try and keep it in. He incredibly manages to do so, but he just gives it straight to Boakye, who clears it upfield, and it's taken down by Ben Davies. He finds Lundstrom just inside his own half, his corner. Goldson plays a low ball forward into the feet of Roof, tries to link there with Tavernier, who is in a very advanced position. Rangers could be exposed here on the counter as Kokorin tries to thread it through. It's a loose pass though, and Butland manages to cut that one out and just plays it to Lundstrom, and now it's Davies. We've got 11.5 minutes of the 90 remaining as Rangers come forward down the left-hand side. It's Sima, can't bring it under control though, and Frans Brorsen is waiting to come on. He's a centre-back, and it looks like they're just going to try and shut up shop as much as possible, Derek, for these closing stages.
Yeah, and I tell you what, they look extremely good on the break. I think it's their tactics just to sit in a little bit, soak up a little bit of the pressure, but when they try to hit in the counter, they've certainly got the pace up top. Yeah. And if you think about the chances they've had tonight, Al, it's about 2 or 3 1v1s with the keeper, so Rangers still fortunate to have an opportunity, to take something away from this tie.
It's no great surprise to see that it's Boakye who's coming off. Sima has given him a tough time down the left-hand side, and he is on a booking, so it's sensible management, you would have to say, as on comes the Swede Frans Brorsen for the closing 10 minutes or so. Stephen, from what you've seen in the second half of Rangers, particularly since they got that goal back, do you see an equaliser coming?
I mean, the goal itself kind of came out of nothing. It's not as if they've been really testing the Limassol goalkeeper and cutting the Cypriots open with chance after chance. You always do seem to tend to get a wee sniff in as the last 10 minutes of a game happens, but Limassol have had the best chance to put the game out of sight, and it was a big miss, a horrendous error from Ben Davies, and then Butland with a huge save. And I don't think Rangers deserve anything from the game, if I'm being perfectly honest. As much as they've improved slightly in this second half, I think the overall performance wouldn't merit a victory.
Here's Tavernier coming forward down the right-hand side, looking to nick a point nonetheless. And it's played in. It's a poor ball in from right, and easily dealt with by the Aris Limassol defence. Rangers win it back though, and it's right on the halfway line. Plays it infield to Lundstrom. 10 to play in Limassol. Can Rangers find an equaliser and earn themselves what would have to go down as an unlikely and perhaps even ill-deserved point, but they won't be complaining if they can manage to do so. Here's Goldson, right-hand side, midway inside the Limassol half, plays it into the box. A good ball, Sima dives in. In fact, it was Dessers who was closest to getting on the end of it is brave goalkeeping actually there from Vanna, who goes down at the feet of Dessers, who lunged at it, and given that he's on a booking, he has to be careful the way he goes in. It's a good ball from Goldson, maybe just a little bit too close to the keeper. Nonetheless, it's good goalkeeping.
Yeah, I tell you what, it is a great goalkeeping, Al, because it's difficult, just bounces in front of the keeper. Good ball in from Goldson, you know, out on that right hand side, good whip on it, and just Dessers there, just caught in his heels a little bit, you know, he's on the stretch, trying to get there, doesn't get the connection, but yeah, as you say, it's good goalkeeping.
Vanna takes the free kick that was ultimately awarded for Dessers' challenge, which was in vain. Davies turns it back to Butland inside his own 6-yard box. The seconds ticking down rather too rapidly for Rangers' liking just at the moment. They've been second best almost throughout. They trail by 2-1. We've got Aberdeen against HJK Helsinki coming up with an 8 o'clock UK kick-off, and hopefully Aberdeen can build on their recent much improved performances. I think it really kick-started with that display out in Frankfurt despite the defeat, and certainly they were good value for their win over Rangers at the weekend. Can they get their first points on the board against the Finns? Thomas Duncan and co will bring you full commentary of that in a little while, but here we've got the closing stages out in Cyprus as Brorson, the substitute, races forward up towards the halfway line. He's eventually out-muscled by Lundstrom. Cifuentes tries to get away from a couple of challenges, but again, he hasn't covered himself in glory since he's come on. And Rangers scrapping away in the middle of the park. Again, it's Sima doing some good work. Barisic also in there, and just get a little bit tetchy out there with Mayambala. We're going to see one of Rangers' youngsters introduced to these closing few minutes. It's Ross McCausland, as Tavernier picks up right hand side, feeds it forward for Wright, almost at the goal line, right hand side of the penalty, back for Tavernier. First time cross is well dealt with there by Mokutu, the scorer of the first goal. And again, it's Aris coming forward. Tavernier has a little tug back there at Babicka, the man whose goal separates the sides. He tries to thread it through there for Brown, and he can't quite manage it as Rangers try to come forward. Wright can't keep it. It's played up by Golson to Roof. Then Cifuentes tries to get it forward. Out it goes to Dessers' right hand side. 6.5 minutes of the 90 left. Tavernier clips it forward, looking for Sima. Sima out to the left hand side. Will just manage to keep this in before across comes Mayambela again. And this change is going to be made, and well, it's a surprising one certainly. Young Ross McCausland coming on for the final few minutes when Rangers desperately need a goal, and it's a lot of weight on the shoulders of someone so young when he comes to replace Scott Wright. Can he produce some amount of magic, young Ross McCausland, and snatch a draw out here? Real Betis have gone 2-1 up against Sparta Prague as Barisic hits the byline, gets a decent cross in. Roof with a header which is off target. It was a really difficult one. He did well to get any sort of power and direction on it, but it has drifted wide of goal. And with 5.5 minutes left of the 90, it's Aris Limassol 2, Rangers 1.
Yeah, and they've struggled to really kind of pin Aris Limassol back for any period of time. And they just look so dangerous for me on the break. You know, that seems to be their tactic, certainly in the second half. You know, sit off it just a little bit, soak up a little bit of pressure, you know, that Rangers do apply, and then just hit on the break. But it's going to take something a little bit of magic. I hope young McCausland, sometimes I think you need to do that, just freshen it up. Go out there, play with no fear. You know, that energy, that excitement, just go out and maybe he'll cause a few problems, but it's been way short for Rangers tonight, way off it.
Tavernier now, right hand side. Rangers searching for a leveller. McCausland on the right hand side. That's the position he's taken up on the right wing for the visitors. Now it's Barisic, left hand side. Swings in a deep looking cross. Vanna comes off his line and takes it really well, the Brazilian, right at the edge of his 6-yard box. He was backpedaling. That is authoritative goalkeeping, really taking the pressure off his defence there. And it's still Aris 2, Rangers 1 as Aris prepared to make a couple of changes, Derek.
But it's just a hopeful ball, that one, on Barisic. You know, he's away out on the left-hand side. I think you've got to try and get to the byline. you know, and kind of whip the ball back away from goal, but that's just a hopeful ball into the box. The keeper deals with it ever so easily.
McCausland slipped it through for Dessers on the touchline, on the byline, cuts it back. Who's looking to pick out a teammate in Kamar Roof, but again he got it wrong. He was in a good position. It was a lovely threaded ball through from McCausland. Great vision from him, but Dessers couldn't make the most of it. It's been another poor evening for him in a Rangers jersey. Here come Rangers once more.
No conviction, you know, it is a good run.
Ball into the 6-yard box. Vanna punches this time. Lundstrom picks up on the edge of the box, no foul. Vanna's hurt himself. In fact, the referee's now going to stop play. I mean, that's such an easy out for a goalkeeper, isn't it? Just, I mean, yeah, he maybe did take a knock, but if the referee decides that's not a foul, then why is he stopping the game?
Yeah, I think the keeper just tried to buy a little bit of time. They've been under a little bit of pressure, not too much. But getting back to the Dessers situation, you know, normally a striker, they're on fire, they're on it, you know, he just has a hit at goal. You know, he's caught in two minds, where it's a shot come cross, and it's a poor effort in terms of trying to pick Roof out.
It's going to be a drop ball to Rangers, but it's not nearly as promising a situation as they had before the keeper managed to get play stopped. Aris still looking to make a couple of changes, but play has resumed with the drop ball. Barisic on the left-hand side can't force his way forward, but it is out for a Rangers throw in. 2.5 minutes to the 90 left to play as Spoljaric and Stepinski prepare to come on for the home side. They're desperate to get them on, but the referee won't allow it just yet. Here's Goldson coming forward. Rangers have got everyone bar Butland well inside the Aris half as they search for a leveller. The time is slipping away from Rangers, and that's another poor pass, this time from Ben Davies, and now the changes can be made. It'll be Matija Spoljaric to come on, and Mariusz Stepinski, Polish striker. And well, it's been an excellent performance from all in green and white, you would have to say, this evening, as Babicka is one of the players who looks like he's going to be replaced, as well as Gomez. But Babicka currently, as things stand, is the match winner for Aris Limassol, and he gets a well-earned break alongside Yannick Gomez.
And they've ran that back four ragged at times, you know, as I said earlier, just hitting on the break, that counter-attack. Well, this game should be out of sight for Rangers. You know, they're lucky still with what, we've got two minutes in time added on. You know, if Aris had took their chances, you know, this game would have been done and dusted.
Goldson has it back to Davies on the halfway line, out to Cifuentes on the left-hand side. Almost inside the final minute of the 90. Cifuentes quickly closed down as Aris find just that little bit more energy that they require to get this over the line. What a momentous victory this would go down as. Their manager was talking up Rangers as obviously having been in the final of this competition just over a year ago, and here they stand on the verge of a famous victory over them. Here come Rangers down the right, and they forced a corner, and if they could snatch a draw from this Rangers, they would count themselves very, very fortunate, as Tavernier stands over the corner kick, right hand side, and they somehow snatch a point in these dying moments. Tavernier's corner to the near post, well met by Stepinski. Out of play it goes over on the far side.
If truth be told, Al, they don't deserve it, you know, on the level of performance they've put in tonight.
Tavernier's cross goes all the way to the back post, but it's gone out as it was whipped in. It's bent out of play. Aris will have a goal kick, and we're going to have 6 minutes of added on time. 6 minutes for Rangers to somehow find a leveller, which, as Derek's saying, would probably be ill-deserved, but they would take it absolutely nonetheless. But it has not been a good first match in charge for Stephen Davis as interim manager.
But you don't see it, you know, although they get 6 minutes. At not one point in the game have Rangers had sustained pressure. You know, it's just it's if they play kind of fits and starts, and you know, it's been slightly better in the second half, but I tell you what, it wouldn't be hard after that first 45 minutes.
It certainly would not be. Rangers have it left hand side, back to Davies it goes. Goldson on the halfway line. Rangers need to find a goal from somewhere. McCausland picks up, he's quickly closed down by Jurosevic, the left full-back, back to Goldson. McCausland makes himself available again on the right flank. Now Lundstrom, who's lapsing concentration. Might well have cost his side really dearly. Here's Roof, that's good play from him. Slides it forward for Dessers, left channel, back to Barisic. First time ball and it's a good one, it's over Roof though. And Rangers can't get anything on the end of it, and Aris can come away on the counter, and clearly another goal now for the Cypriots would end this game. Here's Stepinski, he's got Kokorin with him, can't find him initially, does leave it though. Shot comes in, it's wide, a goal from the other substitute, Spoljaric. That would have finished it certainly for Aris, but wide of Butland's goal, no test for him on that occasion. And Rangers can bring it forward once more in search of that equaliser they so hugely crave. 2 minutes of stoppage time already played of the 6. McCausland on the halfway line, right hand side. Now it's Goldson. Goldson just inside his own territory. Fires it forward, looking for the dangerous Sima again. He nods it down, Dessers won't get there. Vanna dives on it. He's played well, the Brazilian in goal. Beaten once. He couldn't have done anything about Sima's header, but otherwise he's been very good in the Aris goal when called upon, which actually hasn't been all that often.
Yeah. But again, Rangers just resorting to that big long straight ball over the top. And I think what's really clear to see is that just that lack of imagination, that little bit of magic in the final third. Rangers, just do not seem to have that.
Barisic down the left-hand side for Roof. Is there a late bit of drama here as Roof tries to get into the penalty? Can't take the ball with him though. And Aris bring it clear once more. They're happy to just whack it forward and do the defending when it comes back at them, which it will do just shortly as Lundstrom picks up on the halfway line. But 3 minutes of stoppage time remaining. Rangers looking for a leveller. McCausland right hand side. Back it goes to Goldson. Rangers remaining patient, but time very much against them. McCausland down the right for Tavernier. Roof can't latch onto it. Back to Goldson though. And now Davies. Aris desperately hoping to hold on for this, what would be probably the biggest win, certainly in Europe for them. And the short time they've played European football, that's good play, clever play from Kokorin. And he finds Brown, who switches play back to the Russian striker over on the far side, the left for Aris as they keep possession. This is all they need to do right now. Brown has it once more in the middle of the park, goes back the way and then out to the near side for Mayambela. Slides it forward, looking for Brown. Brown looks to take on Barisic for pace. Davies comes across and helps out his fellow defender. Tries to be a little bit clever there to take on Stepinski, but it breaks off the striker and it's behind for a Rangers goal kick. We've got just over 2 minutes of stoppage time left to play. It's Aris 2, Rangers 1.
Tries to be too clever there, just to get away with that. Davies there, he's trying to nutmeg the boy, and on the touchline, 2 or 3 yards out. You get lucky there, but you just don't see Rangers getting this equaliser. As I said, that no sustained pressure. Actually, Aris look really threatening on the counter-attack. Every time they get one possession of the ball, they break on Rangers. And any time they go up the park, look as if they're going to score.
Rangers have it, middle of the park, it's Goldson. Dessers flicks it on, Tavernier inside the penalty, cuts it across and is behind for a corner off Brorson. Good defending from the Swedish substitute. Rangers will have the corner right hand side. They're in a hurry now. 90 seconds remaining of stoppage time. Tavernier across to the right to take this. Rangers are throwing everyone barring Butland forward. Cifuentes looking at the edge of the box as the corner comes in. It's met by the head there of Davies, but he can get no direction on it, and it's harmlessly behind for a goal kick. It has been that kind of evening for Rangers. It remains Aris 2, Rangers 1.
Yeah, it's been one to forget, that's for sure. I mean, you start games the way Rangers did tonight. It's so hard to get up to speed, and they've not quite been at it tonight. And it'll be a really disappointing night, obviously, for Stephen Davis, Alec Ray there. I think there'll be a few harsh words at the end of the game, but I think players themselves have got to take a look at themselves. You set yourself standards, and they fell way below them tonight, that's for sure, individually and collectively.
Goal kick is taken by Van Aert, and it's just going to elude Kokorin all the way through to Butland. This is surely Rangers' last chance to get it forward. It's Goldson, hoists it in the direction of Sima, whose goal gave them something to cling on to, something to work with, but ultimately Rangers have done not nearly enough since that goal went in. Here is Sima though, left-hand side into the box. Vanna takes it inside his 6-yard box, and that is surely that. We've played the 6 minutes of injury time. There might be a little bit more for a spot more of time wasting since that 6 minutes was shown. But no, the full-time whistle goes. It has been a dreadful night in Limassol for Rangers, whose players look disconsolate out there. They have not offered nearly enough over the 90 minutes. And Aris Limassol deservedly take the 3 points from Rangers in this Group C tie. It is a famous victory for the Cypriots, and one which is fully deserved ultimately. And although Rangers came back into it with Sima's goal with 20 minutes to play, they barely troubled Vanna in the Cypriot goal beyond that. And Aris Limassol having gone ahead in 9 minutes when Mukatuma Sunda headed past Jack Butland, and then increasing the lead just before the hour mark after a dreadful error by John Lundstrom allowed Leo Bengtsson to make way down the left-hand side and then lay it on a plate for Babicka, and he gleefully tucked it beyond Butland. As I say, Sima got one back for Rangers, but it wasn't nearly enough. They did not show enough, and the Rangers fans behind the goal are being applauded by the likes of Kamar Roof, but they have made another long trip in vain. And it's a lot of work to do for the interim management of Stephen Davis and Alec Ray to try and lift Rangers' spirits and try and continue European journey beyond the group stage. Just a dreadful evening in Cyprus. Hopefully Aberdeen can do better against HAK Helsinki. But in Cyprus it is finished. Aris Limassol 2, Rangers 1.
Following Scotland.